So I am David Omolewa. So I'm a 2 times PTDF awardee. So I was awarded the Master Scholarship in 2023 and the PhD last year. So I'll be taking you through how my own experience went. So I'll share a slide.
PhD don't show me difference. PhD.
So where is this thing safe again? Where is view presentation? Okay. Let me carry this. Okay. Okay. So can we all see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yeah, and you can still see my face.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll be just taking you guys on my own journey. So from being shortlisted to being awarded. So I'll say it's a story of thinking outside the box. So as I previously said, that I'll take you through how I was able to get the virtual interview. So how did I get the virtual interview? So at the time that the scholarship came out, I was still abroad. So I was wondering, like, how will I be able to do it? I looked at the travel cost for me to come back. It was going to be very, very expensive for me. So what approach did I take? So I sent an email to PTDF. I appreciated them for giving me the opportunity to be shortlisted again. Then I told them that I'm currently not in the country, so that please I'll request to reschedule my interview to a virtual option. So after that, it took about 5 days before they responded back to me. And from there, that's how I was able to get the virtual interview. So you can see all the emails that are here on the screen. So you can take note of it if you want to snap it or if you want to screenshot it. So in case you have any reasons, whether maybe you want to change an interview location or whatever that you have, or you have a medical emergency or any of this thing, just send email to them and hope that they respond to you. So I hope that solves the question. So now I'm back to the PhD journey. We were all in the same boat. I'm sure many of you applied late, maybe like 2 days to the ending or 1 day to the ending. So that's the kind of situation I still found myself in. So, and after that, it will look like very doubting. You look like very, very worrying. I applied very late. Am I going to get it? Unfortunately enough, by the grace of God, many of you here got it. So, and also when you look at your qualification, like the same way in the chat, where you see people are complaining, like these people here, they got first class result and all those things. So your worrying is also justifiable. In the same situation too, in my own case, we know the traditional way of PhD. Even when you are doing an admission, most people will ask you, do you have any publication and all these things? So it might look worrying, and so in my own situation, I didn't have publication. So if I was to worry, I'll have been scared that, okay, without publication, I'm not going to be able to get it. But that's one of the mindsets that you need to remove away from there. The self-doubt. Am I going to be able to get it? There are people in different states. This one is in Abuja state. This one is in this thing. This one is in this thing. Those are mindsets that you should change away. And one thing that you don't need to worry about again is you submitted all your documents. So whether first class, 2-1, 2-2, you submitted your documents, you can't change it. You can't change the A in your results. You can't change the B in your results. So all those can't be changed. That shouldn't be what you should worry about. What you should worry about is presenting the best version of yourself. Which brings me to the next part of formulating a strategy. So in my situation, I thought about it. I was shortlisted for a virtual interview finally. Okay, what do I need to do that will make me different? Then from there, I remember that I had a conversation with a scholar like that came for PhD in 2023. So he was gisting me about his own experience, how everything went. But what I could remember at that period was how he mentioned how he presented himself. So the way he was like gisting me about it, everything looks like very, very strong. He was telling me like the interviewers, they were just enjoying the way he was saying everything. Everything was just looking smooth. They said that, wow, this guy really knows what he was doing. Then that really sparked my mind that, okay, what can I do? Then that's when I thought of, let me create a PowerPoint presentation slide. Since I don't have any other thing I can use to justify myself, instead of me showing my proposal that I submitted, your proposal that I submitted is just a Word document. A Word document, most of everything there is just text. So imagine you presenting those fully text to your panelists. How would they be able to understand what you are presenting? It will look very bugging to them, except if you are someone that is very good at speech and maybe they can understand through your speech. But when they see pictures, when they see all these things, it will make them like easily understand it, give them a mental picture of how everything looks, and which can set you apart. Now, I did that. I created my presentation slide. Then came the interview day. It was very, very worrisome experience because they allocated each time slot, I think like about 15 to 20 minutes for the interview. So I waited, it reached my turn. Then from there, I joined the meeting. Lo and behold, they say you are waiting for the panelists to add you in. I waited for about 30 minutes. I tried different emails. I was very, very scared and worried, like what is happening and this thing. I was even about closing my laptop and said, like, I've given up on this thing. Maybe they just wasted my time with this thing. I just said, like, let me just still wait. That's how they accepted me in. And then I said, apologies for the late this thing. I said that, okay, no problem. Then from there, I was expecting that maybe they will ask me, show me your documents and this thing, maybe you waive it or this thing. But in the virtual interview, they didn't ask me for that. So in your physical interview, still carry your documents. That does not mean like, because in my own situation, they didn't ask, that they won't ask you for yours. So everything I mentioned there about your certificate, your transcript, all these things, carry it with you. Then from there, the next question is present your proposal in 10 minutes. It was just as straight as direct as that. They didn't even like maybe do some rapport or tell me about yourself and this thing. Just ask me, present your proposal in 10 minutes. Then from there, I told them I'm going to share a slide. Then they were like getting worried. They said like, which slide? Like they're just looking at me. So they were actually like in a conference room inside Abuja in their PTDF tower. They said that which slide? I said that I prepared a presentation slide. Then I noticed some people at the door, like the entrance. So then from there, all of them started coming inside to sit down, to start looking at me. So we'll be looking at the screen, like, what is this guy going to present? So there was that curiosity inside them, like maybe other scholars have not presented any slide before, or maybe that's the first person they are seeing in that day to present slide. So then from there, all of them started looking, sitting down and looking at the screen. Then from there, I started presenting myself. Then that was the move that I made. So I felt like for me, that personal decision of sharing that slide was my own selling point. So I framed everything about the core of the interview question. So the first one that they asked was the novelty of my work after I finished presenting. So they asked like, what is unique about your work? What made your own proposal different from what has been existing? I'm in the robotics field. So they asked me, you have autonomous underwater vehicle, you have remote operated vehicle. So how will your own system differ from there? So in your own situation, whatever field of study you are in, they will also ask you your own project you are working on. How does your own differ from existing system? Or are you replicating the existing system? So they asked series of questions related to that, not just only one, this thing, many, many questions to be able to find out if your project is actually novel. Then the next one they asked again too is, how does your work differ from existing system? Similar to the first question, but in a different way. Then they asked to how my project that I'm doing, how will it impact the oil and gas industry? So you to also have a word that you'll be able to defend for that. In my own situation, I don't want to give an answer because that's a personal, it's personal to my own self. So you have your own answer to your own self because PhD proposal, everyone has his own this thing, and you can't be sharing your project everywhere. Everyone has his own this thing. That's the truth about it. So then they asked me to what materials am I going to use? So in your own situation too, What materials are you using for your project? What method are you using to carry out your own research? Where are you gathering your data from? Is it primary data? Is it secondary data? Whatever. So they will ask you for that. So me, the more I was giving them answer, the more they were firing me more questions. Then finally, they asked for professional membership. That was the last part they asked me for. So I just mentioned I'm a member of Nigerian Society of Engineers, then International Association of Engineers. I told them I'm a member of Engineers Without Border, even though there's no certificate for that. It's just word of mouth I used for that. They didn't ask me for any document. So the question they asked me from the previous one made me create this slide on handling the pressure. So in situations where you are doing interview, whether physical or virtual, there's always that level that you must have of being confident in everything you're saying. So go back to your proposal, go back to your personal statement for master students, go back to check everything you have written down, go and look at it. Is a difference in if it's somebody that wrote it for you, definitely you won't be able to present it. But if you go back to read it and digest it, any question they ask you, from the little knowledge you know, you'll be able to defend it and say it in your own word. So I answered everything honestly. And I also told them too that it is a PhD. In a PhD, you have many unknowns. So the more they were asking me a question, I noticed that they were more curious about the project. They were enjoying it. But I told them it's a PhD. If you have all the answers to the project, then it's no more a PhD. It's just for you to go and do implementation. So those questions they're asking me, I said, those are things that I'm going to find out when I start doing my research and when I start building up the project. So then the central lesson that I would just say is sell yourself. So whether you're a master's interviewing candidate or you're a PhD interviewing candidate, sell yourself. So the first point I'll say is think differently. In my situation, I said that what will I do that will make me stand out? I said, let me create a presentation slide. In your situation, it must not be compulsory that you must create a presentation slide. It might be maybe you have one certification or you have one thing or the other. Maybe it's a publication that you've created on your own proposal. Maybe you've done something on that before and you want to find another aspect of the project to do on. It will definitely be one thing that can make you stand out. Go back to, after I finish the meeting, go back to your own personal space. Think about it. For master's this thing, I thought about myself, what will I do to distinguish myself? I carried my certification like in SolidWorks, a CAD design software. Then from there, I carried also the competitions that I've gone for. I put that in my personal statement too. And when I did my interview then, that was in 2023, they asked me about all those things. So when I showed them, they said that I know what I am doing. There's definitely something that you can show. Then also, I said it's that whether virtual or interview, you don't have anything that is limiting you. Have something to present. Then also stay focused and leave distraction. The same way I've initially said, whether first class listing, those are not questions you should be asking. Those ones you submitted your documents. What you should be asking yourself is, what can I do differently? You are not interviewing on the behalf of another person. Another person is not interviewing on the behalf of you. Don't look at location. Don't look at anything. What you should focus on is your own self. The people you are looking onto, they are preparing their own strategy too. So don't be surprised if they get it. You were basically focusing on another person's matter while the person is busy developing himself. So that's what I can say. So I summarized the whole this thing of what the panelists are looking for in your PhD. So basically your introduction, your background of your project, your aim and objective, your methodology, whatever you're going to use, your apparatus, equipment, your outcome, what do you stand to gain from your project, how will it benefit the oil and gas industry. They're also looking for your technical knowledge because I told you that they asked many technical questions. The more I was giving them answer, the more they were digging. So you want this thing to go back to your own proposal or whatever you have made to do some little or preliminary research on it. At least have a knowledge and have an answer that you'll be able to give to any question that they ask you. So the same way I said that beyond your paperwork, the panelist is not just reviewing your proposal, they are evaluating your ability, your composure under pressure, your depth of understanding, and your ability to communicate complex ideas in simple terms. I can't overemphasize that communicating complex ideas in simple terms. So the same way when I presented my project, it is very complex. It's not something that somebody can do by himself. Very, very complex project. But my presentation slide was able to simplify everything to the way that all the people that were sitting there were able to understand it. So the final advice again that I'll still give again is go and be different. The same way I've said that your document is what got you to your interview stage, but that is not sufficient. You still need to do more work. The real work starts now. Your interview is your stage for you selling yourself. This is where you have the power. You have the power over the interviewer. Now it is in your hands, no more in the interviewer's end, no more in your assessor's end. Now it is in your own end to be able to control how this interview is going to be. Craft your own strategy. The same way I crafted my own strategy. It's not compulsory, you must copy me. Find your own way. Find what will work for you. Everyone is always unique in your own way. Each and every one of us with different abilities. The lady that got 5.0, that's our own selling point. You might not get 5.0. Find what you use to sell yourself. So, and be confident, be prepared, and be memorable. So, thank you. And this is the last verse that I gave in 1 Corinthians. You know that everyone runs a race. So the same way everyone here that are attending this interview is a race you are running for. At the end, if you are a master's candidate, maybe it's 3 people that they will select. So run so that you obtain the race. If you are a PhD candidate, right now they are reducing it to one people per state. So run so that you obtain that single position. So how you run, do all those things that I've said here. So if you do all those things that I've said here, ignoring what other people are saying, focus on yourself. Me, I didn't know anybody from anywhere. I didn't know any Adam or anybody. I just thought within myself, what will I do? I didn't think about another person. I thought about myself. And lo and behold, that's how the same God that did it in the master's, same God did it in the PhD. So I believe too that if you trust God, if you trust the process, put in your effort, pray to God and everything, I know that everything will work out well. So that is all I can say. Thank you very much.